basically do this survival disaster in Japan, be terrible disaster, and the earthquake and all that. So say something that happened. Perhaps this little puppet show and demonstration will help. I am Russell. Woe is me, for I can't help with all these things I imagine. All across the earth. I am Sam. Boo-hoo-hoo. I am Sam. I'm Sam. I'm going to... I am Robbie. I am also Sam. I'm going to... Oh, the sugar on the bars, and the jelly on the bars, the twilight and the things! Wait for that! Wait for that sorrow! Right, it's true my psyche has come unglued and all that. Especially I have to deal with this, all these things. Especially I have to deal with it. You're right, we must bathe. For our good health, good hygiene is all worth it.
That is there, but we wanted to hear, earlier today we asked you a question.
Reactor at that same plant lose its cooling system. Meanwhile, search and rescue operations have found more victims, but few new survivors. Still, the government say 15,000 people have in fact been rescued. There are empty shelves and long lines for fuel in Japan. Water and electricity are problematic as well. Shelters are housing thousands who have lost everything. The recent estimate is some 450,000 people right now living in those shelters. Now, we have CNN teams across the hardest hit areas in the region, from Tokyo to Sendai and up the east coast near Ufanato. They're suffering through the same power problems residents are suffering as well, not consistent electricity. So we'll bring them to you as soon as they become available, and we'll only be able to have them up for a short amount of time so they can conserve the electricity they have in their generators.
For a city on edge, this sent a frightening chill through its residents. With another big aftershock hitting Japan, authorities immediately issued a tsunami warning for the coastal city of Ishinomaki, and people wasted no time getting out.
What is he saying? What is he saying?
He said a 3-meter wave was coming. It was only days ago that their homes were devoured by the monster tsunami, the 10-meter wall of water collecting everything in its path.
So everyone here in Ishinomaki is on high alert. People are just looking towards the coast, waiting to see if a tsunami will actually hit. The warnings have been going off for the last 15 or 20 minutes. The sirens have been going off. Police have been travelling up and down the roads, particularly those close to the coast, telling people to get out, to move to higher ground. We came across these locals up here who have done just that. They don't want a repeat of what happened here on Friday.
Taking refuge on a hillside, dozens of people whose eyes were firmly glued to the horizon. This woman was inside her house when Friday's tsunami struck. She raced upstairs as the water swirled beneath her. This time, she was taking no chances. Nor was this mother of two. As soon as I heard the sirens, she said, I raced to the kindergarten and grabbed my children. I was so scared, I just had to get to higher ground. After half an hour, it was clear the danger was over, but for 64-year-old Oikana Toshikazu, the terror remains. My heart is still racing, he said. I'm really scared there's going to be another tsunami. And as the aftershocks continue, that is the fear these people must live with. Anna Koren, CNN, Ishinomaki, Japan.
An eye reporter shows us bare store shelves there. Also in other places, CNN reporters have seen very long lines. Kyung Lal visited an evacuation center in Sendai, but first our Dr. Sanjay Gupta sees how things are going at a shelter in Shikigoma City.
This is a little bit of an example of Japanese efficiency and just how they're making this refugee camp work. They're using a swimming pool for water. They're using the water for toilets, for bathing, but they've created a line, a long one, from the swimming pool all the way out here. People literally handing buckets off one to the other to try and get water to places where they need it most. So if you come out here and take a look, you see literally all these volunteers have come together and created this long line of volunteers to make this all happen. In the time that we were here in this refugee camp, we immediately got a sense of just how people are working together to try and accomplish these tasks. They have no idea how long they're going to be here, but they want to make sure that they can take care of their basic needs.
Food and water is scarce, but they are starting to come into these evacuation centers. If you go, for the people who actually live in the city where there is no power and water or hot water, they have to stand in line at some of the stores. Some of the stores are selling some food and water, dry foods and water, but they're limiting how much you can buy. You can buy maybe a couple bottles of water and rice, or you can buy some potato chips and some water. So it's very limited rations across the board. The one thing I will say, too, is that something that's really spectacular, especially if you're a Westerner, is the amount of order and care that the Japanese have for one another, even in the face of this massive disaster. Lines are very orderly. Even people here in the emergency centers, they are helping each other stand up, making sure that everybody is fed and everybody has enough water. Even if they have to give up something, they want to make sure that the community is able to keep moving on.
They were the best match couple in ever. The genie soon got his freedom. And peace was achieved and everyone was happy. And peace was achieved throughout the kingdom. Everything was amazing. And it's amazing what happens when two hearts meet and love some things. Ooh la la, the things you do for love. This is another Harsh Puppet Show over and out. Oh, Ted Harris over and out.